I'll play with you until you break.
Christie is all about speed and close-range dominance. What that means is keeping the fight's pace in your favor for as long as you can. First things first, when in close and an advantage, I want you to lead with your jab. That can be just pressing P, PP, PPP, or PPPP. Or hell, you can even do 5 Ps if you're feeling frisky like that. But don't get used to that, because your opponent's gonna eventually blow you the hell up if you try and abuse that on them. So basically, don't mindlessly mash with Christie. The reason why I want you to lead with your jab with Christie is because her jab is very versatile. Aside from all the different kind of like variations that I ended up showing you, I mean there's like a bunch of other stuff you can do with them, and they're also highly delayable. Aside from just doing like PP, other stuff you can use is like your PKK. Again, like I just said, delayable, PKK, and even after that, right there, you end up getting a stun. So a lot of times if you press up P plus K or down P plus K, you can go into Christie's special stance called Jakeiho. And so after you end up like confirming a hit with your opponent, that means you can end up going into the Jakeiho stance, for instance. But I'll go over that more Jakeiho or advanced stuff a little later. So basically, I want you to lead with your jab with PKK, PP down K, which can also do PP down K P, or just simply doing PPP or PPPP, which can also go into the Jakeiho stance with the down H plus K or up P plus K. Oh, and free cancel with just PP is fine also. Greetings, I'm Force Nature, and I welcome you to Top Tier Tips. In this session, we're going to be taking a look at an advanced guide for Christie in Dead or Alive 6. If you have any difficulty with any of the terminology in this video, then check out this video here to help shed some light on the nature of fighting game notation. Because from here on out, I'm just going to be using proper DOA notation. Before you do anything, go to the fight screen info and slap on the best box in the whole wide world, the move details box, also referred to as the skill info. Let's take a look at Christie's 6PP. This is both Christie's fastest mid at 11 frames, and it's her primary counter hit tool. If you counter hit the opponent with 6 PP, you will get this plus 20 stun. For example, if you have an advantage over your opponent, such as performing a guard break, this move will counter hit basically almost any response the opponent will do. 4 P plus K is a particularly good guard break for keeping the opponent on the defensive and keeping them honest. The 6P string has more than just 6 PP, however that's the most common thing you're going to do out of it is 6 PP. This is going to be used as a bit of a check on your opponent. It does say it's minus 15 on block, but that's because there's numerous follow-ups. If you're uncertain if you're going to counter hit anything, you can even just do like a single 6P to check. Like it is minus 10, but no opponent's gonna try and like punish you after doing this. It doesn't really end up really accounting that much when you actually do like a hit the opponent. Like even on normal hit, I mean it's not much of anything. However, there are numerous hits. You can actually go up to a total of 4 hits. So there's 6 PPP and 6 PPPP. So you can have a total of 4 hits. Although under most circumstances, what you're gonna do is just do 6 PP and maybe 6 PP, then delay the 3rd hit. Or 6 PP, then press 2 P plus K or 8 P plus K to go into Jakeiho stance. If you confirm a counter hit on your opponent, then you can go into the Jakeiho stance and launch with either the P plus K option or the P option. Don't transition into Jakeiho on block, or you can get counter hit pretty easily by 6 Ps. After you counter hit someone with 6 PP, something common that you can do is launch right away with 8K. Launch them with 9K. Again, if you confirm the hit, then you can also get more launcher options by transitioning to Jakeiho with Jakeiho P plus K or Jakeiho P. You can choose to extend the stun with 3P, 4K, or even just doing a jab. To get a little creative, you can also follow up with 6K and go into the Jakeiho stance, or 3K, which can also go into the Jakeiho stance, which can give you more potential options to mix up your opponent with. You can also just whack them repeatedly with 6 PP until they fall over, which is after 3 times. Use 6 PP very sparingly. The only point of 6 PP is to stop opponents from punishing 6 PP. And if you're feeling frisky, you can also do 6B half circle back throw. That is used to discourage people that can hold the second hit on reaction no problem. Remember, if you like this video, smash that like button. If you like this video, just hit the like button anyway, and don't forget to subscribe for more juicy fighting game content. Be sure to check out the Christie Novice Guide if you haven't already, because this video ends up elaborating on the content that was introduced in there. I also apologize if anything does get repeated in this video, because if I do end up repeating something, it's probably important. I also want to take this moment to thank my premium top tier fighters for their continued support, which I always do appreciate. If you'd like to become a premium top tier fighter yourself, click on the Patreon link down below. Oh, and before I go on, I just want to give you guys a thanks again for helping me get over 4,000 subs, even though I know now it's probably closer to 4,200 subs. I feel like I've been working on this guide forever, and I know it's just taken a really long time, and I apologize for that. But yeah, I mean, thanks again for helping me get over that small milestone. I want to give a huge shout out to the OG Christie Osmic for helping me with some of the information in this guide. I mean, like, seriously, check that guy out. He does some really awesome stuff for both DOA and Christie. But I'll just let you know, this is actually a pretty long guide, so feel free to jump back and forth between things. Anyways, let's get back to it. Christie's comfortable ranges are mid-range, and of course, close range. As a refresher, let's take a look at Christie's strike speeds. For instance, he has a 9-frame jab, an 11-frame elbow, a 14-frame down jab, a 13-frame knee that stuns on normal hit, and a 14-frame tracked mid-kick that also stuns. This move is really good. In close range, your go-to for opening people up will be PKK. What you're doing is fishing for a normal hit stun. If the opponent's just standing there blocking and you just want to chip him out with lows instead, you're going to do PP2K. Along with PKK, you could also fish for a counter hit stun with PP, stopping on the 4th P. Along with the other jab options mentioned throughout this guide, you can also use PP4P to set up your back turn stance. Take note that it does leave you at negative, so that means you have to condition your opponent to respect the follow-ups. Along with PP4P, there's just simply doing 4P. The main reason why you'd want to set up the back turn stance is it gives you access to the really good back turn P, which you see right here is 13 frames and leaves you at +1. With +1, that effectively gives you an 8-frame jab, an 11-frame elbow, and a 13-frame low jab. From back turn, you also get access to the good P+KP that leaves you at neutral. Back turn P+K also stuns really well if it ends up connecting on normal hit, and the move is a high crush. So for opponents that try to retaliate with a jab, then you can counter hit them with this for a really good nosebleed stun. And for a low option, you have the 2 P+K string that leads into the machine gun fists. Your go-to tracking moves with Christie will include your 14-frame track and mid-kick, H+K, which is also a good Footsies poke, but I'll go over stuff like that a little later. Your go-to high tracking move will be 4P, which sets up your back turn stance, so it's a good move in general. And your go-to low tracking move will be 1P, which has a follow-up in 1PK. Lift stun on normal hit, launcher on counter hit. Your go-to high crushing tracking launcher will be full crouch, 3P, same thing. Lift stun on normal hit, launcher on counter hit. Christie's throws aren't particularly strong, so to make up for it, she has good frame advantage moves such as guard breaks. Your go-to guard break is going to be 4 P+K. Alright, this move comes out pretty fast. It's 30 frames and it leaves you at +10 or even like plus 11 sometimes based if you can get around tip range, but it's generally plus 10. Unfortunately, you need 2 frames to be able to connect your jab, so you don't actually get anything guaranteed from that, but with plus 10, you can basically do like almost any strike after that, and it will probably counter hit the opponent if they end up pushing a button. However, if you're able to fully charge this, for instance, if you have the opponent on the, well, highly on the defensive, you can occasionally sneak in a fully charged one. You see it comes out in 50 frames, at least with plus 15. With plus 15, you could easily get a free 6 PP. This is particularly dangerous at the wall. Another thing that makes 4P plus K dangerous is the ability to fake out your opponent by pressing 4P plus K 3 or down 4 right there, and then you set up the Christie's roll and stance. Then say, for instance, if you have the opponent on the defensive, then you can sneak in the throw option right there, leaves you at plus 21. Again, this is what also makes this move dangerous at the wall, because with the throws, you can easily get guaranteed follow-ups. After connecting the roll and throw 3P plus K, your go-to is either going to be launch right away with 8K or extend the stun with 3P. You can also do shenanigans, like doing the throw multiple times in a row while the opponent's on the defensive. Back to guard breaks. Other good guard breaks include the guard break from your Jakeiho stance, so Jakeiho 4P plus K. This one right here leaves you at plus 4, so this is your go-to guard break out of the Jakeiho stance. And other good guard breaks is essentially anything off of what's this called, the machine gun fist, such as like a 6 PPP. And then once, if you hold down the last P, then you get this plus 2 guard break. Same with like 3 PPP. Hold down the last P and you get that guard break. Like there's numerous moves. Even like back turn 2 PPP. Probably said too many P's there. You can like set up any of these guard breaks and you get a quick like 2P. With Christie's, the strike speeds again, plus 2 is plenty for frame advantage for her to work with. Actually, going back to the roll and stance right here, there's a good guard break out of this also. 3P plus K, P plus K gives you the same plus 10 guard break, but because it's coming out of the roll, it will create the illusion that it's coming out faster than just doing like a 4P plus K, so this could be a pretty sneaky way to get your plus 10. Also, 3P plus K, the roll is a high crushing move, so it goes under high, so you can do 3P plus K, P, so you can just go under a high, and then whether this move blocks or gets hit, it's good, leaves you a good frame advantage, or it would knock down the opponent otherwise, so it's a good move. As for a low crushing, so a guard break move that ends up jumping over a low, you have 9P. This move also comes out fairly quickly, for a guard break. 34 frames is a decent amount. It jumps, leaves you at about plus 7, so again, you can't get anything guaranteed, but this is also still a good guard breaking move. It's got pretty good range, also similar to like 4P plus K. Another good guard break comes out of the Jakeiho Backdash, so it's if you just do Jakeiho, like let's say 8P plus K and 4-4, then press the P option. And right here you get this plus 4 guard break. Jakeiho and Jakeiho Backdash is a very evasive stance in general. So again, hovering from a Christie's comfortable range, which is around the tip of around like mid to close range, you can end up like try to sneak this in, and basically just keeping the opponent on the defensive for as long as you can is generally really good with Christie. Your go-to low crushes with Christie include her 7KK, which ends up beating out lows really well, and also has the benefit of being semi-safe on block at -7. Another good low crush is also her go-to get off me interrupt move, her interrupt move. Her 7K right here comes out 12 frames, like really good move, so you can use the P option to wall slam the opponent, knock him into the environment, or you can use the K option in order to switch sides. And of course, 7P is good if you need a low crush that's also a guard break. Another good low crush is Christie's 1K. Right here, this move has a couple follow-ups also, and it's just a really good move. Basically, you can do it as a bit of a low poke, especially on your opponent's wake-up, and you can even trip them up with the low option, which is also highly delayable. As for go-to high crushes, so moves that end up going under, like, high attacks, hands down, 1P will be your go-to. So, essentially, anytime you know the opponent's go for a high, they just do the 1PK string, and because you're essentially going to be counter-hitting your opponent, you'll always launch them. And 1P also has like really good range. 2 PPP is a decent option close also. And of course, full crouch 3P is your high crush launcher of choice. If you like to fish for a counter-hit stun, then the 3P string is very good at setting it up. Now we're going to take a look at Christie's Jakeiho stance. So this evasive stance here with 8P plus K or 2P plus K. Alright, the biggest thing about this stance is that it's highly evasive. So if you think the opponent's going to end up doing any sort of like high attack or just a linear attack in general, then you can avoid it with Jakeiho. So if you do something that's on block that's like, well, preferably like safe for instance, then you could avoid it with Jakeiho. Let's say that you get anything resembling the machine gun fists, so the rapid fire fists on your opponent's block for instance. Then you can basically avoid it with Jakeiho. Because essentially these machine gun fists are only, let's see, like -5 on block, -5 on block. So with like -5 on block, you can easily try and do like a Jakeiho after if you think the opponent's prone to trying to do a linear retaliation. Oh, and the big thing about Jakeiho, it can avoid throw attempts also. But of course, if you do something unsafe, then Jakeiho won't save you. As for Jakeiho's moves in itself, there's a lot of options out of it. A good go-to option out of there is just simply going for the P option. Alright, it's -12 if it ends up getting blocked, but if it ends up connecting, then you get a big lift stun. The big thing about the Jakeiho P option is that there's multiple follow-ups. So right there you have the K option, and then you could even go for like a low option afterwards, or a mid option after there. So the third hit can even be a bit of a mix-up. And it's also incredibly delayable, so the P string is really good. If you know the opponent is blocking, then just keep shaking them up with the low option, the Jakeiho 2K. To keep opponents from punishing Jakeiho 2K easily, you have follow-ups such as Jakeiho 2K 2K. It's reasonably delayable. Jakeiho 2K 6K. Alright, this one's not as delayable. And you can even do Jakeiho 2K and K, which comes out a little delayed. So you have a few options to do, which basically just augment what's already a really good low poke. To put a little pressure on the opponent, you can use your Jakeiho H plus K. Right here, it leaves you back turn, and again, you get access to your really good back turn P. As you see right here, you're at +2, so you can basically do the P, which will end up being 11 frames under most circumstances. If you think the opponent's going to try and retaliate with a quick jab, then again, you have your P plus K P. And if the opponent just stands there, trip him up with the back turn 2K. Your alternate guard break from Jakeiho is Jakeiho 4P. So this will be your mid option, which leaves you at +4, where Jakeiho H plus K will be your high option. The Jakeiho H plus K comes out faster, whereas the mid option comes out a bit slower, but, well, of course it hits mid. Jakeiho 6P is an alternative to Jakeiho P. This one's not as good as Jakeiho P, but the main reason to do this is just because it has a delayable follow-up in 6PP, which looks a lot like the third hits of 6PPP. Jakeiho 6P plus K is a great move. It's safe on block at -5 it gets blocked, and when it hits the opponent, it blasts him away. This is basically your go-to blast back move, well, aside from Jakeiho H plus K. It also can be good combo filler at the end of combos. Jakeiho P plus K will be your go-to launcher out of, well, Jakeiho. You can launch on normal hit, or on counter hit for a slightly higher launch. Jakeiho P plus K also relaunches in combos. Anytime the opponent suspects you might try and launch him with either the P option, or the P plus K option, then mix him up with the K option. You can also do counter hit 6PP into Jakeiho 2K 6K and set up a little Oki. Along with the standard Jakeiho options, Christie also has what's called a double Jakeiho, so such as 8P plus K, 2P plus K, so this is basically double Jakeiho. Double Jakeiho has all the same options as like doing a single Jakeiho. However, even though it is called double Jakeiho, I mean, you still can get counter hit if you end up doing a lead-in move into Jakeiho's stance. So unfortunately, your only option if you suspect the opponent's going to try and elbow you is either the block, or simply do your move, and then do a Jakeiho a little after. Along with the normal Jakeiho options, Christie also has some Jakeiho Cancels, or just simply called Jack Cancels for short. Now you see these right here, any of these machine gun fist moves. If you end up pressing the second button, so let's say 66PPP, and hold it down. If you hold it down entirely, you get a guard break. However, if you press up or down, you get a Jakeiho Cancel. Jack Cancels allow you to get all the normal Jakeiho options that you would normally get. Along with majority of Christie's tools, her Jack Cancels require a bit of conditioning. Alright, the condition move here is the guard break, or just simply just doing the machine gun fists. Alright, so when the opponent is going to maybe try and do some sort of response, expecting that, such as like, I don't know, a mid-punch hold, Then you can mix them up with different moves like going for the low, going for the high guard break. Remember that Jakeiho Cancels also is a sidestep, because essentially with the charge punch, your only option is that mid punch. So basically, the point of Jak Cancels is to essentially augment your offensive mix-up on your opponent and to essentially keep them guessing. Because Christie's really good at, well, basically just like unpredictability. And on a different note, anytime you block something, if you don't know if it's unsafe, just do a PK check. A nice tool that Christie has is her 7P. This is an auto sidestepping move like her Jakeiho. What this move does is it does an auto sidestep either to Christie's right or to her left, depending on which foot is forward. For instance, left foot forward, she goes to her right, right foot forward, she goes to her left. This move is part of a string, so you have 7PP, then it launches automatically, then you can get in a small combo. If this move connects on counter hit, then it can give you like a pretty big stun. Also, 4PP is a nice fob after you stun your opponent. When fighting at mid-range with Christie, you need to decide whether you want to get in on your opponent and rush him down, or play a bit of a kind of a keep-out game or mid-range poking. Under most circumstances, you're going to want to get in on your opponent and, again, pressure your opponent. However, if you're fighting someone like Okizeme, who's also like really good in close, then fighting around like mid-range, or if you're fighting someone with short range, such as someone like a Mary Rose or a Hanukkah, you might want to like keep them out. So when you're hovering around mid-range, what you're looking for is an opportunity to either strike the opponent with H plus K. As you see, this move stunts on normal hit. I might have showed you this move earlier. This is a really good tracking move. Hands down, this is basically Christie's best tracking move, if not one of her best tracking moves. 14 frames, tracking, really good mid-poke. So if the opponent whiffs anything in front of you, this move will stun them no matter what. With plus 13, again, you can always follow up with 6PP or PKK, or just basically any jab string is fine. You can also try and poke opponents with your 6PP or your 2H plus K, which is just a really good low poke. Under most circumstances, you're just going to be doing 2H plus K and not really doing the follow-up as much because it's too low, so it could be a bit telegraphed. There's even a throw option, which of course all that can be guarded with low blocking. So just simply doing 2H plus K is good. Its range can seem a little shorter compared to like H plus K or 6PP, but its range is still, I mean, pretty solid in general. If you want to low with a bit more range, you have your 1P string, which has the 1PK follow-up. Although this move is very negative on normal hit. I mean, 2H plus K is like pretty negative also. But the thing about 1P is, yeah, is minus 17 on normal hit. I know that's like ridiculous because you have a really highly delayable follow-up. This move is really good like if the opponent's like really low on health and you want to try and just like kind of like finish him off just because of how good the range is on that move. And of course, if the opponent whiffs anything big in front of you, then you can whack him with your quarter circle back, your 214P right here for a big lift stun. Well, I mean, lift stun, I mean fatal stun. And then right there, you just go for a launcher right away with 8K or continue the stun with 3P. Also around mid to long range, you can try and condition the opponent with the 4P plus K move right here. Alright, as you see right here, it's a plus 11 guard break if you can get around tip range, but it's normally plus 10 for no charge, full charge, you get plus 15, and if you can try and get tip range for it, then you'll even get yourself plus 16. So this is just like a really good move. Of course, when it hits the opponent, ends up getting a knockdown, you can try and like apply pressure afterwards. But the main thing about this move is I might have showed you it earlier. If you press 3 or just down forward, you end up going into this roll and move right here. So you can even use this as kind of like a pseudo approach tool. So right here you can roll, then do the double P option, or even just do a single P. So when you're doing this roll, the P will be your go-to poke. You can do the guard break, you can roll, you can do another guard break attempt, or another like guard break move right here. And of course, when the opponent's on the defensive there, then you could try and sneak in the roll and throw. Be careful that in open space, you're not really going to be able to get anything guaranteed. So you could try and get a 4K, but under most circumstances, just use the frame advantage for a mix-up opportunity. Once you're ready to get in on your opponent, then your primary get-in tool will be 66PP or 66PPP. Alright, this is, I might have mentioned earlier, this is a conditioning tool. So, I mean, the safe thing to do is just simply do the first two pokes. This move does have, well, pretty good range. I mean, it's a really good poke. It comes out like pretty fast. So what is that? 15 frames. So It's a really good move. The first move also tracks, so the opponent cannot sidestep that. Christie has really good tracking, so the opponent can't really sidestep Christie that easily with moves like H plus K, 6PP, 1P. So, but like all of these are really good moves. I already went over the kind of Jakeiho options you can do after that, because with this move, I mean, if the opponent ends up blocking it, then you only really can just stop there. You have to kind of determine, are they the type to kind of like interrupt right away, or if they stay defensive? Because if you end up like staying defensive, then you could try and pressure them with the guard break. You can end up going into the Jakeiho stance. You get like more options, so you can try and shake him up with the low. You can even go into Jakeiho, then try and like sneak in a throw. Your mid-range poke with Christie, well, which can also has the ability to go into Jakeiho, will be 3K. I already showed you the H plus K is also a really good option, but with 3K, just simply do the kick, and then it can go to Jakeiho and try and just shake up the opponent with the low option. Or of course, the defensive, your guard breaks are always a great option. If you know the opponent's going to do with a low or anything like that from range, then you can smack him with 9P. I didn't go over it in the Jakeiho section, but I'll also let you know that Christie does have the what's called Jakeiho Backdashes. Like so, when you go into Jakeiho, you just press back or 4-4. Alright, just like the Jakeiho Cancels, this is also used to help augment Christie's mix-up games. Like that's the low option with the K. Here's the P option right here, which causes a backbound, and I might have like showed you earlier. The move is also a +4 guard break. You also can transition into a forward roll by pressing down forward or 3. You get all the same options that you normally would out of a normal low roll. And also when fighting at long range, don't be afraid to just use your 4P as, well, essentially as a poke. It sets up your back turn stance, so if the opponent runs at you, you can poke their eye out with the P option. P plus K gives you a good stun. If you can also just launch them with the H plus K, which is also your go-to launcher from back turn, which is an alternative to do in P plus KP. You can also shake up opponents with the low with back turn 2K. .4K is another solid ranged poke, along with 1K, which is your ranged low poke, which is also a good low crush. But the thing about 4K is that it can lead into the 1K string by doing 4K, 2K, and you can technically go into the full string if you so desire, delayable the entire time. So along with having 1K poke and 4K poke, you also have 4K, 2K. Let's take a look at Christie's Okizeme right now. Christie can deal with wake-up kicks, particularly low wake-up kicks, really well. Just do 9KK. Or 9P. If either of these moves end up getting blocked, it's either a guard break or you're semi-safe. As for mid wake-up kicks, they are a lot harder to crush. You gotta basically time it right or it won't work. A good go-to you can use is just back up slightly, then do quarter circle back P, and then you end up beating up the wake-up kick for the fatal stun. However, if the opponent just stands up and guards, then you'll leave yourself pretty unsafe. A tougher, riskier way to try and punish wake-up kicks is to try and set up space out an 8K and punish with a lift stun. As for offensive Okizeme, for a force tech setup that you can do with Christie, you can just do this combo right here and follow up with 2H plus K P, and then do 1P. This will leave you at plus 15. Follow up with 6-6 PP string, or the half circle back throw. Christie's throws are not very strong. That's one of her main weaknesses. Just for formality, I'll just show them for you. For instance, her 5-frame throw ends up dealing 40 damage, leaves the opponent close by. Her 7-frame punish throw ends up dealing 45 damage, leaves the opponent right there. She has a couple 10-frame throws, 4T ends up dealing 52 damage, and 6-6T ends up also dealing 52 damage, and her 12-frame throw for punish and holds deals a measly 58 damage. However, there is one place where Christie's throw game actually becomes quite strong, and that's at a wall. Two throws in particular become particularly dangerous. 6-6 T and 3P plus K T. As I alluded to earlier, 3P plus K T is not really that good in open space because you just can't seem to get any follow-ups, regardless of the fact that you do get plus 21 frame advantage. So all you can do after this is maybe try and pressure with like 6-6 PP for instance. Inner corner though, the roll and T throw becomes particularly dangerous. For instance, you can do something like 4P plus K, then fake the opponent out into the roll. There, you get your plus 21. And then after you do this, fall with 2-3-6 P. Then you can do like a small juggle, and you can do that if you just want to go straight for damage. If you want to keep the pressure up at the corner, which is generally a good strategy, what you can do is just do 3-piece stun right there, and you get plus 33, which is like a lot of frame advantage, and then you can kind of like just mess around with the opponent at the corner. And now for the other terror at the wall, the 6-6 T throw. This does 62 damage and leaves you at plus 16. Plus 16 is basically enough frame advantage to do like almost anything. So after this, the most common thing you do is just simply keep doing it until the opponent's likely to push a button. When the opponent's likely to push a button, then smack him with H plus K. This will also catch sidesteps. A common go-to you can also do is doing roll-in mix-ups like roll-in P plus K, or just do like an old roll-in P. You can even get sneaky and just do a fake out with the roll into another throw. You kind of get the idea, the kind of shenanigans you can do with this reset throw. On a different note, Christie's 5-frame down throw, so 2T, has the ability to wall slam. A game plan that you can try and employ with Christie is to essentially wall carry your opponent, get him into the corner, and then try and pressure them with your dangerous pressure tools like your 6-6 T throw. Christie's defensive holds aren't really very good. For instance, that's her high hold right there, deals 48 damage, keeps the opponent somewhat close. Here's her mid punch hold, just same thing, kind of switches sides, keeps the opponent close, 48 damage. High hold, same thing, opponent close by, 48 damage. So as you see, the holds are, for the most part, all pretty like similar, don't really do that much in terms of environmental damage. It's a mid kick hold. And here's the low kick hold, all of them 48 damage. However, there's one defensive hold that actually is strong with Christie, her low punch hold. As you see right here, when you connect it, it launches the opponent for a free juggle. So this is used to defend against, well, 2Ps or down jabs. Christie's 2P is 14 frames, where for instance, Ione's is 12 frames. So like that, for instance, is a pretty fast 2P. So if you have an opponent that might try and abuse like 2Ps against you, then you can just launch them with your low hold. The low hold's particularly dangerous under a seal. When you have the opponent at the wall as Christie, wall slam him with 4-6P, or if you want to get the small wall splat, then use 6P plus K. On counter hit, you can wall slam the opponent with P plus K, or a nice go-to for the small wall splat is 3K, because 3K can lead into the Jakeiho Stance. You can also wall slam the opponent with strings such as like 6KK, 6KP. You get the small wall splat with 6PPP. You can also wall splat opponents from Jakeiho using moves such as Jakeiho 6P plus K, which is like a really good option when it's not getting an angled wall hit. You can also use moves such as Jakeiho H plus K, and you can use Jakeiho 6P for the small wall splat. That move looks just like 6PPP. Jakeiho 4P also wall splats. After you wall splat the opponent, follow up with 6K and 3PPP. You can also follow up with PP2KP for a 4-stack setup. Take note, if you hit the opponent at the wall with counter hit 3K, always end up going into Jakeiho. Then when you're behind the opponent, hit them with 6P plus K for a very juicy limbo stun. After you hit the opponent into a citizen assist, you can launch him right away with moves like 8K, full crouch 3P, or 9K. Or you can just extend the stun with 3P or 4PP. You can also use 6K to set up additional Jakeiho mix-ups. Alright guys, I want to thank you for sticking with me throughout this very long and lengthy and fructuous Christie journey. But yeah, if you like this video, smash that like button. If you didn't like this video, just hit the like button anyway, and don't forget to subscribe for more juicy fighting game content. In particular, I have quite a lot of Dead or Alive 6 and, well, Dead or Alive 5 last round character guides, along with lots of tutorials both beginner and advanced. This video is endorsed by Smart Esports and Trollcoin. And I also would like to take this moment to thank my premium top tier fighters for their continued support, which I always do appreciate. If you'd like to become a premium top tier fighter yourself, click on the Patreon link down below. If you had any further questions, feel free to contact me on my YouTube, Twitter, or Twitch. So that means leaving a very delightful and enlightening comment down below. You can also contact Force of Nature on freestepdodge.com. And once again, I want to give a shout out to and a big thank you to Okizeme for helping out with the content in this guide. And I just want to give a big thank you to, well, all of you just for supporting me and helping me get way over on 4,000 subs now. So basically what I'm trying to say is that you guys are both awesome and, well, patient. Anyways, this is Force Nature signing off. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time on Top Tier Tips.
Feeling disheartened? I'll make you cry some more.